The film starts and we are shown a vehicle. Here, a couple emerged and a young lady was sitting in the vehicle. She was looking extremely frightened. She didn't seem to be their girl by any means. From that point forward, the scene movements to a family who had come on a vacation trip. The man's name was Bjorn. What's more, here was his significant other and a little girl. They were having some good times, at the point when a man comes and requests a seat, which was of Bjorn, yet he actually gave it. Since that man asked affectionately, the man takes the seat to his family and plunks down. This man's name was Patrick. What's more, here was his significant other and a child. At night, everybody ate together, where Patrick expressed gratitude toward everybody, which caused him to feel that Patrick is a generally excellent man. Here he likewise let everybody know that he is a specialist. Everybody was dozing around evening time, however Bjorn was not tired. At the point when he remained in the gallery he saw Patrick, who was checking them out. Yet, the following second, he leaves. The following day, when this family was meandering, their girl's toy got lost. Bjorn went to search for itself and soon he tracked down it. However, when he returns, that's what he sees. His family is conversing with Patrick's loved ones. Patrick's significant other additionally converses with them pleasantly like him. We should discuss his child. He was exceptionally calm. He additionally had misery all over, which didn't seem as though he had come on a vacation. Patrick acclaims both a couple. Also, such two families got together. In light of which they eat together. Patrick's significant other welcomes them to her home. Also, they eat together. It was figured out that in spite of the fact that Patrick's spouse eats vegetables, furthermore, is a veggie lover, yet once in a while she likewise eats fish. Today she was with them, so she needed to eat fish. Due to which Patrick applauds her once more. Everybody was extremely blissful. However, Patrick's child was eating noodles in a bizarre manner, as though he was exceptionally eager. In the wake of getting to know each other, both the families went to their homes. At some point, Patrick's mail came to Bjorn. Alongside the image of both the families, he had welcomed them to his home, to come and remain at his home. Both the couple were exceptionally cheerful. What's more, said that they are a decent family. Be that as it may, it was not settled at this point regardless of whether they will go. A visitor came to their home with whom they referenced this. The visitor says that you ought to go. They are welcoming you with such a lot of adoration. Hearing this, both their concerns were settled. Furthermore, presently they have decided that we will go. Then, at that point, on the 3-day weekend, they set out on their excursion. In the wake of finishing a 7-hour venture, they arrived at Patrick's home, which was in a distant region and was likewise tiny and limited. At any rate, they were invited well indeed. Then they show Bjorn and his significant other their room, which was additionally tiny. They had likewise made a bed for Bjorn's little girl in their child's room. Yet, by laying a sleeping cushion on the floor, this thing appeared to be extremely odd to Bjorn and his significant other. They accepted that visitors shouldn't rest underneath them. In any case, what could really be done? Their child was all the while sitting unobtrusively. He doesn't converse with them. Patrick cooks meat around evening time. Also, gives it to Bjorn's significant other first to taste. Despite the fact that she realizes that she eats vegetables, not meat. Then she additionally doesn't decline, since she has come to their home as a visitor. Furthermore, they need to pay attention to them. Bjorn's better half eats meat at their command, while they likewise toss trash from Bjorn. At the point when Bjorn was watching out of the front shed, then, at that point, Patrick's child Abel came to him. He opens his mouth and shows that he doesn't have a tongue. That is the reason I don't talk. However, at that point Patrick summoned him and Abel ran from that point. Them four were talking around evening time and Abel was crying boisterously. In any case, his folks couldn't have cared less. They say that Abel doesn't have a tongue, that is the reason he frequently cries like this. Then Bjorn's little girl additionally came here. Furthermore, these three rested there with incredible trouble. The following day they all went out. Bjorn's little girl couldn't slide while playing, since Patrick's child was sitting underneath, he was not moving endlessly. Seeing this, Patrick admonishes his child severely, and furthermore causes him to apologize to her. What Bjorn's better half could do without. That he treats his child so severely. That is the reason she lets her significant other know that I don't feel much better here. However, at that point Patrick's better half comes and says, how about we go out to eat, we are going on a mission to eat. Hearing this, Bjorn's significant other was exceptionally humiliated. She believes that these individuals are so cordial. Everybody was all set, however at that point a man comes here, who was really a guardian. That is, the person who deals with the youngsters. As a matter of fact, just these four are going on a mission to eat. The youngsters are not going. So the overseer will deal with them in their non-appearance. For what reason did Bjorn and his better half see this as peculiar? Patrick didn't let them know that we are not taking the kids. He would have rather not let her little girl be. Yet, presently she needed to do this because of defenselessness. What's more, these 4 individuals go out. Rather than this lodging, they came to a little place to eat. Also, here Patrick arranges all that food and alcohol. Seeing the food, the 2 of them were extremely cheerful. It's great neighborliness. Subsequent to eating a ton of food and drinking alcohol, Patrick and his significant other get inebriated and the 2 of them begin moving. In the wake of having loads of fun, now the time had come to cover the bill, which Patrick gets from Bjorn, which was significantly more abnormal in light of the fact that they were the visitors. Furthermore, Patrick's significant other likewise advised them to go out. What's more, presently the bill is additionally being paid by these individuals. Bjorn and his significant other's contemplations about the 2 of them changed. They believe that these individuals requested such a lot of food, however we ate less. Simply contemplated their regard. However, how did they respond? They ate a great deal of food despite everything, we gave the bill. That implies they didn't regard us from any place. They thought this was a cheat. In any case, presently the unfortunate young lady could simply snicker. Patrick plays music in an extremely uproarious voice. Bjorn advises him to turn down the volume, however Patrick didn't tune in. That is the reason Bjorn's better half flew off the handle. Furthermore, she advises him to stop the music out of resentment. Yet at the same time, Patrick and his significant other couldn't have cared less, and they were having a great time. These individuals get back home and see that our girl is dozing on the floor. That implies they offended them all around. At the point when Bjorn's significant other was scrubbing down, somebody comes in. This was Patrick, who comes exceptionally near her and afterward returns. Bjorn's significant other was exceptionally stressed over this. She immediately came to Bjorn wearing garments, be that as it may, doesn't inform him anything. Both the couple were hanging out. That is the reason their little girl comes and says, I need to lay down with you, yet they were occupied, so don't pay attention to her. And afterward Patrick sees this. At the point when Bjorn's significant other awakens around midnight, she goes to check her girl who was not at her place. At the point when she went to Patrick's room, he was dozing without garments. What's more, he was making it lights out time for her girl in the center. Bjorn's significant other truly regretted this. She got her little girl and came to Bjorn. She said, I need to return home, we should go, how about we go? These individuals pack their stuff and leave without telling that family. And keeping in mind that leaving, Abel checks out at them in an extremely guiltless manner. At the point when she comes a little further, Bjorn's girl says, I failed to remember my toy there. On this, her mom clears up for her little girl. In any case, she begins crying. She begins demanding Bjorn didn't see her crying. That is the reason he turns the vehicle. In any case, by paying attention to the girl's demand, Bjorn's tuning like this plan to bring a major issue for them. It's likewise something major to think that you are going out around midnight without telling that family. However, at that point you are returning for reasons unknown. At any rate, in the wake of arriving at there, Bjorn sits his little girl and spouse in the vehicle, also goes inside to get the toy. By then, at that point, his little girl gets her toy from under the seat. At the point when his significant other goes inside to tell about this, she sees that Bjorn has proactively met Patrick. Here they likewise have an issue. According to Patrick, you leave us like this without telling, perhaps on the grounds that we could have missed something in neighborliness, so let me know, can anyone explain this? That you folks preferred this to us. Then here Bjorn said nothing. Yet, his better half says all that anything, she felt terrible. She says despite the fact that she realizes that I am a vegan. I eat vegetables. I had to eat meat. Why? What's more, the room that was given to us was tiny. The bed was additionally little. Our little girl was made to rest on the floor. That evening, we'd covered the bill. Your way of behaving was so bizarre. What was all that? Then, at that point, in their explanation, they say that we didn't recall that you are a vegan. Furthermore, in the event that we took care of you meat, then we didn't drive you, correct? You have eaten according to your desire. You ought to have told us. You were timid and didn't tell us. Furthermore, to the extent that the little room was given to you, then, at that point, you all see with your own eyes that our entire house is little. What's more, how might we give you a major room? We don't have the means to purchase a major house. We don't have that much status. Whatever happened to us by remaining here? We attempted to do it effectively. Also, the motivation behind making your girl rest on the floor was to hold both the youngsters together, so our child would likewise coexist with her. There were no 2 beds, so we needed to put a bedding. Furthermore, we should discuss the previous evening. We got the bill from you and our straightforward way of behaving, so you folks perceived how plastered we were. We didn't recollect what we were doing. Presently, from every one of their discussions, it appeared as their aims were basically right on the money. They had to go at all that to serve that family. However, at that point Bjorn's better half says, alright, the rest is one side. You all tell me, for what reason did you all make it lights out time for our little girl in your room? Hearing this, Patrick says, when she came to you, why didn't you pay attention to her? What were you doing around then that your consideration didn't go to her? Along these lines, Bjorn and his better half were extremely humiliated. Furthermore, it turned out to be clear here that both the couples are to blame. Assuming Patrick and his better half are to blame, then Bjorn and his better half are likewise to blame. That is the reason Patrick says that this is only a misreading between the two couples, which we can clear up, with the goal that you can remain here for another day, for which Bjorn and his better half likewise concur, since they were additionally regretting their way of behaving. What's more, similar to this, their kinship began by and by. Also, these individuals get ready for the evening. Here, Bjorn's significant other gets a cut on her hand, then, at that point, Bjorn requests that Patrick check since he was a specialist. Then Patrick says that I am not a specialist, I was simply lying. I accomplish no work, truth be told. Hearing this, both felt exceptionally bizarre, since by and by they were cheated. Yet, aside from showing a phony grin, they could do nothing. Bjorn's better half notification that Patrick's significant other is coexisting with our girl. At the point when she couldn't have cared less about her kid, what's more, when these individuals eat. She was getting more straightforward with their girl, at the point when her own child was sitting far away. Furthermore, Bjorn's significant other could do without this. Furthermore, she even told Patrick's significant other, "That don't cause my little girl to see to such an extent." Presently both the children were moving. However, Patrick's child, despite the fact that he wasn't moving as expected, be that as it may, he was glad interestingly today and he was getting a charge out of. Then, at that point, Patrick advises him to appropriately move, in the wake of saying it 2 times, when he didn't move as expected. Then, at that point, Patrick originally chastened him a ton. Then subsequent to extending his face, he said do it appropriately, which terrified Bjorn's family as well. Presently he was a youngster and he was unable to move appropriately. So Patrick lashed out about it. That he tossed the cup and broke it. That family genuinely regretted it. That he is acting so seriously with his kid, by not allowing him to appreciate, which made Abel cry. However, neither his mother or father was making him calm, nor attempted to encourage him. Indeed, even now they were constraining him to move, as a matter of fact. This thing was not being seen by that family. Bjorn stood up and he says, "Stop it, Patrick, he is a youngster. For what reason would you say you are compelling him to such an extent?" However, he couldn't have cared less about this. He was all the while requesting that he dance. Bjorn's better half felt so awful, that she lashed out and emerged from there. Everybody was dozing around evening time, yet Bjorn couldn't rest, since Abel was all the while crying. Then Patrick went to beat him with the goal that he can stay silent. There was an exceptionally quick television, which Bjorn came to switch off. However, at that point his eyes went to the front shed whose entryway was open, at the point when Bjorn went to check. Then, at that point, seeing this, his eyes were left open, that there are many individual stuff lying there. Furthermore, there were a ton of pictures on the walls, which Patrick had shipped off Bjorn, which plainly implied that this is his work. He meets the family on siestas, also, converses with them and afterward calls them to their home. We won't ever understand how he would have managed them. In any case, they pick a family like their own, which has a spouse, wife, and just a single youngster. Since a youngster is the most significant for them. There we additionally see Abel's image, at the point when he was with his genuine mother and father, and afterward Patrick and his significant other had another youngster, so we could comprehend that they kill mother and father from the family, while keeping their kid with them. What's more, that kid stays with them, until they get another prey or another youngster. What's more, when they get another family as a prey, then they kill that last kid as well. We get to know this from the youngsters present in those photos, who were extremely content with their families. Yet, when they came to them, all their joy was no more. Furthermore, another thing, they cut Abel's tongue, not that he was conceived this way. Furthermore, he used to do this with each kid, which made Bjorn extremely apprehensive. He came out rapidly and believes that now he will save his loved ones. What's more, Abel and remove him from here. Sadly, Patrick had killed Abel long back, since his dead body was drifting in the water. And that implies that their youngster was his next target. However, here I will let you know a few things connected with Abel. Presently when we saw Abel, interestingly, it seemed like the youngster was not talking. However, that unfortunate youngster was miserable in view of leaving his mother and father. What's more, he was eating those noodles in such a weird manner, since he had not eaten them previously. He was from some other nation where there are no noodles. That unfortunate kid needed to discreetly eat, since he was unable to show fits of rage. What's more, nor were they his genuine guardians, who might hold his fits of rage. What's more, he was dealt with seriously, which we have proactively seen. He showed Bjorn his cut tongue since he was a little youngster, yet needed to help them, with the goal that those individuals take off, yet he didn't have any idea. Also, frequently Abel used to cry, since he probably missed his folks. What's more, that day, he didn't move from the swing, since he didn't know English. So he didn't have the foggiest idea what she was talking about. What's more, that day when he was seeing his family leave, he was miserable in light of the fact that he was seeing his last expectation leave, which is exceptionally miserable. What's more, that evening when he was unable to bear to see Patrick cry, he killed Abel. In spite of the fact that he was glad interestingly that day, Patrick satisfied his day as the last day of his life. Presently Bjorn needed to some way or another save his loved ones, so he left with his better half and girl. He was driving the vehicle in a shuddering. Also, he didn't let his better half know that she shouldn't get terrified. Presently a vehicle was following them. Which was, in all honesty, Patrick. Presently when they understood that he was following us, Bjorn took the vehicle off the street and put it on the other street. However, the street was awful so his vehicle stalled out. The issue was that there were no signs here. Bjorn saw a house in front where he went to find support, while Patrick was stowing away and watching out for them. Bjorn arrived at that house, however there was nobody there. So he returns. Be that as it may, there was nobody in the vehicle since Patrick had taken them. With his girl's toy in his grasp, Bjorn was crying. That is when Patrick comes there with the vehicle, in which his family and Bjorn's family were there, who were as yet uninformed about the reality of what was occurring here. Bjorn was defenseless. He sits in the vehicle at the command of Patrick. Be that as it may, he presently realized what planned to happen to us. Their little girl will be grabbed and they will be killed. Also, he can do nothing. Then Patrick took them to an abandoned spot, where Patrick was not paying attention to them. Here his overseer likewise came. Patrick was likewise hitting Bjorn, which caused his better half to comprehend that the matter is extremely terrible. Furthermore, those individuals currently cut off their girl's tongue with scissors. What's more, the guardian additionally gets his better half. Bjorn became shocked in the wake of seeing this, since he was feeling torment thinking that now our youngster also should get through this which Abel was doing. Nobody will actually want to help her. She will get through the brutality and one day she will pass on. Yet, presently their life was additionally in harm's way, since they would have been quick to kick the bucket. Patrick carried them to a spot where there was nobody to pay attention to them. Bjorn asks Patrick, for what good reason did you do this to us? He answers, since you let me make it happen. Presently we will know the solution to why he said this later. He removes their garments and puts them down. Then he gets enormous stones and starts hitting them. And keeping in mind that being hit with a great deal of such stones, the needy individuals endure and bite the dust. Then, at that point, they takes their little girl to their home. What's more, this is the very scene that we found initially. A couple and their girl who was terrified. Then, at that point, following a couple of days, they went out to get away. Furthermore, they likewise tracked down their next target. Presently Bjorn's little girl is additionally in a similar condition as Abel's. That is, her tongue was cut and in shock, she was exceptionally terrified. Presently Patrick said, this since you let me make it happen, so we did everything, since he shouldn't have accepted these outsiders like this. Saying it pleasantly and affectionately, they continued to trap them. Furthermore, they continued to get caught. They continued to applaud them erroneously and they continued to get caught. Presently on the off chance that they needed, they might have gotten away. But since of the willfulness of the young lady, they needed to go, and this happened to them. That is the reason at whatever point you take some time off, don't trust outsiders. Since anything can occur. Who can say for sure? There are hazardous individuals like Patrick and his better half. So forever be ready. What's more, you shouldn't satisfy each wish of your kids, since the results of this are much of the time exceptionally awful. With this, the film's story closes here.